Riddick Bowe has made it 2 victories to 1 in his favour in the rivalry over the 1990s with Evander Holyfield, but it was a fine, close-run thing, and Holyfield had his moments of glory snatched away from him in a dramatic fight. Maybe it didn't reach the quality of previous fights overall, Barry, but we couldn't ask for more in terms of drama, could we?
Well, for sure, sheer power, strength and commitment. The rubber matches in all these huge fights are never quite the same commitment as the earlier ones, but this was incredible. I mean, these guys fought their heart out, and it looked like it could go anywhere at that stage. At the start of the 8th round, it was anybody's fight. The two of them were very tired. Holyfield looked like he had him in trouble, and then all of a sudden he walked onto an enormous right hook, and his mouth was open, and he got hit square on the chin, and really he never got over that.
We'll look at the action at the key moments in just a second. Gary Mason, your overall reading of it?
I think it was Evander Holyfield, for some reason or another, he doesn't seem to be able to carry himself in the way he used to be able to in the ring, because he seemed to have lost the plot after about 3 or 4 rounds, but he was courageous enough to find a big punch in the later round which decked Riddick Bowe, and after doing so, he still didn't have nothing there to be able to go after him. And Riddick Bowe, having the courage that he's got, given the opportunity after being decked before, he took his chances in the later rounds and he dropped Evander Holyfield. It was a classic fight and a great display of courage by both fighters.
Let's have a look at what happened in round 6, Barry, when we began to see the fight slipping away from Holyfield.
Well, Holyfield looked like it was starting to fall away from him, and then all of a sudden, he produced a left hook like this. What do you see? Absolutely incredible. He was a superb shot. Missed with the first one, but he didn't miss with the second one. The right hand missed again, but the left hook finish up was whacked right square on the chin. And that was a superb shot. And let me tell you something, Riddick Bowe has got a concrete chin, a chin of iron. But this left hook would have knocked over a horse. Absolutely incredible. Right. Missed him with the right hand and left hook, bang. And look at it, he knocked him down, knocked him completely back and down to the ground. Superb shot. But absolutely remarkable the way he was able to land that shot when it looked like he was all out. Look at that for a shot. Absolutely remarkable.
Gary, was the suggestion for you that Bowe would not get up?
I believe that Bowe looked very, very distressed, and he didn't look as if he was going to actually get up from that. And when he did actually get up, he went to the corner, and he stayed in the corner, and he was riveted there. He couldn't actually move. But Evander Holyfield, he seemed to be just riveted in front of him, wasn't able to capitalise on that, whether it was because there was something wrong with him physically, that he couldn't just push his body. He seemed as if he couldn't push his body, but he allowed Riddick Bowe to survive that. And when you're in there with 2 great fighters, if you put one down and you let him get away, he has got to get revenge, hasn't he, in the next round or a round later?
Yes, that's
absolutely. And he did. He couldn't finish Bowe. He was exhausted, and then this is round 8, and he hurt him again here, and it looked like he had him in trouble. It looked very much like it was a similar situation to the 6th, and he again forced him back to the ropes, ran in after him, rushed in after him again, a little bit ragged, left his chin hanging open, and whack, that right hand hit him, and he hit him as he was walking forward, and it was combined total of about 30 stone hitting him on the chin, and he just wasn't able to get up from that, and the referee allowed him to get to his feet. I don't know how, it's just his courage that got him up from that one. He's a lion heart. He was unbelievably courageous in this fight. And he's done it time and time again, and he just showed he was tired here. And look at the referee, Joe Cortez. He has a look at him here. Now, the guy is out on his feet, and he's so brave, and he asks him to walk forward, and he won't walk forward because he knows his legs will betray him. Yet, he allows him to continue, he takes a step
Was he right
forward.
to do that?
Well, it's very difficult because he's been such a proud champion in the past that, he was right to allow him one more last-ditch effort. But
at this level? At
this level, and, at that stage in his career, and, knowing how much it meant to him, he had to give him the opportunity to go on. But the knockdown again, as I say, he was hit full-blooded with a full-blooded punch here. He hit a right hand and a left hook, and he missed with the next one, and he tried again to walk in and hold on, but he was gone at that stage, wasn't he, Gary?
Was that quality work from Bowe for you, Gary Mason?
I think it was Bowe having his physical advantages help him. Do you know, in the earlier in the build-up, they were talking about Evander Holyfield getting too brave and in the exchanges. And here we see the exchange. Evander Holyfield caught him, and they're actually having the exchange. Evander Holyfield's now forgotten a bit of ball when he gets caught. Yeah. And that was what he said, and everybody else said that could be his mistake. And it's proven to be the mistake.
One more look at it here.
Yeah, too brave for his own good. You know, and this is the final knockdown. He was out on his feet there. You know, the referee gave him the benefit of the doubt, but was very quick in stopping it now, and we're glad to see that he's made a complete recovery and he's okay, but his pride has been severely dented.
How did you score it to that point, Gary, first?
I had it roughly even at that stage. It was actually anybody's fight up until then.
I had it at the end of the 7th round, 66-66, dead even.
That close. Let's get back to ringside and let's get a word with the winner and the man with big things down the pipeline now, surely, Riddick Bowe.
Riddick, how did you summit the strength to come back when you did?
Well, when Evander got me down, I knew that it looked very awkward to me, you know, looking up at him. Man, I knew I was supposed to be down here, so when I got up, I said, well, I got to maintain my composure, and eventually things would, you know, come into my favor.
Did you think you were one punch away from being knocked out?
Oh, no, not at all. He shook me. I'm no question about it. Knocked me down, but I knew that I was much stronger than Evander, so he was throwing shots, I was catching him or whatever. My first time being down, and I knew eventually, you know, if I was cool and collective, I would get him.
When you were dropped in the 6th, were you able to clear yourself? That was the 6th.
No kidding.
Were you able to clear yourself at that point?
Oh, yeah, I was able to clear myself, maintain my composure, and get back with using the jab and going to him and things of that nature. I just didn't want him to get the momentum going where he would come forward and just, you know, do everything, you know, in his power. So I had to keep him going back. Even though I was still shook up a little bit, I had to force him back, and that's what I did. And I got an opportunity to rest during the rounds, and once the bell rang, I was okay again.
How tough was the fight?
It was extremely, actually, to be quite honest with you, this was probably the hardest fight of all three. Because he was, I mean, I don't know what he had or what he was drinking or whatever, but he was extremely strong, and I don't know why. I couldn't figure it out. Maybe it was the weights he was lifting and whatnot, but he was much stronger for this fight than any other the previous two.
Would you ever want to fight this guy again?
Well, if he want to fight again, he got to do this by himself. I mean, I believe that he can beat anybody out there other than myself. Like I said, I feel like he's number 2 in the world, and if he train like he trained for me, anybody else he would beat.
What's your future all about now?
Well, right now, in all honesty, I'm going home. We're going to celebrate the holidays and things of that nature. I've been going for two months. When I left home, my baby was 3 months, now she's 3 months. So I'm just going to go home and enjoy, and then the first of the year, we're thinking about something.
Well done, champ.
Thanks a lot.
What did you think of his performance tonight overall, Barry?
I thought his performance was very shabby. I thought he started off reasonably well. Didn't look like he had the appetite for a tough fight. Looked apprehensive on a number of occasions. Had Holyfield in trouble, and then all of a sudden got nailed and showed signs of vulnerability for the first time ever. He said in the interview that he backed, when he was hurt and in trouble, he backed Holyfield up. He must have had a temporary lapse of memory, because he was backed up and he sat in the corner, and because Evander had nothing left and was exhausted himself, he wasn't able to pull off a surprise win. But overall performance was, you know, I suppose in light of what has happened, I'm a Evander Holyfield fan. I have to put my cards on the table here, but I wasn't that impressed with Bowe.
Gary?
I believe that Bowe was very fortunate tonight to get away, and if it had been somebody like Lennox Lewis or another one in there, it would have been totally different, and I look forward to that match.
How do you see that one, should it take place?
Lennox Lewis will, I put my hand on my heart again, Lennox Lewis will knock him out. But did you notice at the end when they asked about his future, he avoided any mention of it, because the first person he should have spoke about was Lennox Lewis, but he spoke about his holiday. He knows he doesn't need that.
Barry?
I believe in the interview beforehand with Rock Newman and subsequent interview with Bowe afterwards, there was no mention of Lennox Lewis. I don't believe he wants to fight Lewis. I think he'd rather fight Tyson than fight Lewis, because that, as far as he's concerned, would be a safer bet. And I think they're using money as a way of avoiding, you know, they said he has to understand that, you know, we're the champion and we'll get most of the money. That's a nice way of saying, no thank you, ma'am.
Have we seen Evander Holyfield in competitive action for the last time, Gary?
I hope so.
And
because
I do too.
He deteriorated very badly after 2 or 3 rounds, and worryingly badly, and in comparison to the sort of fighter that we know. So I hope he can call it a day with that performance.
I really hope that he does, because, you know, he cannot keep fighting fights like that, and war after war after war. It just, your body says no after a while, and I'm afraid it said no tonight when he got nailed with that right hand. You know, that would have knocked out any heavyweight, and he just wasn't able to continue.